Good day everyone. So we'll be discussing about the PERT CPM. PERT CPM stands for Project Evaluation and Review Technique and Critical Path Method. My name is Francis Jonathan and I will be discussing to you about the PERT. So PERT is Project Evaluation and Review Technique. It's a project management tools used to plan and control the tasks needed to complete a project. It helps estimate the amount of time each task will take, especially when the task durations are uncertain or variable. By using PERT, project managers can build project schedules and identify the most critical projects that affect the overall completion time. So, development and background. PERT was originally developed in the 1950s by the United States Navy. During the planning of the Polaris Miles program, this project was highly complex and involved many interrelated activities, requiring a new method to effectively manage timelines and coordinations. PERT was created to address these needs and quickly become a standard tool in the large-scale project planning. The purpose of PERT is the main goal of the PERT is to improve project planning and executions. So especially it helps us scheduling, coordinating, and tracking. So scheduling is determining the start and finish times for each stacks. Coordinating is managing the sequence of the stacks and their dependencies. Tracking is monitoring the progress to ensure the project stays on the track and identifying the delay early. And the importance of the time estimation in the projects is accurate time estimations is essential for the effectively budgeting and resource allocations. So technique as such as PERT or program evaluation and review techniques offer a realistic and data-driven times forecast, helping to minimize the risk of project delays. So additionally, time estimate aids in the identifying a potential bottleneck and critical tasks, enabling better planning and prioritizations throughout the project life cycle.
Now there are components of a PERT chart. First, we have the nodes. It represents events or milestones or start or end points of tasks. These are circle or boxes. Next, we have the arrows. It indicates tasks and their sequence. Now these arrows are connected to the nodes, and each arrow represents a task and shows the order things need to be done. Now we also have the time estimates. We have 3 to exactly know how long a task will take. First, the optimistic time or the O is the minimum possible time to complete a task. Now, if everything goes perfectly, this is the fastest that task could be done. Next, we have the most likely time or the M. Now, this is the best estimate of the time required. This is the best guess based on experience. Now, we also have the pessimistic time or the P, the maximum possible time to complete a task. Now, if there are delays or problems, this would be the lowest the task would take. Now, in calculating expected time, we have the formula expected time or TE is equals to the O, the optimistic, plus 4M, the most likely time, plus the pessimistic time, divide by 6. Now, if you wonder why there's a 4 on the M, we give more weight to the most likely time. That's why it's multiplied by 4. Now, this weighted average accounts for uncertainty in task durations. Now, this will give us a realistic idea of how long the task might take, not too optimistic or too pessimistic. Now, through this, it helps us in creating a more accurate project timeline.
Today, I'll be discussing the steps in creating a PERT chart, which is a tool used in project management to plan and schedule tasks effectively. Step 1. Identify all tasks required to complete the project. The first step is to list everything that needs to be done. For example, if you are organizing a school event, tasks might include booking a venue, sending invitations, and setting up decorations. Step 2, determine the sequence of tasks and dependencies. Next, you figure out the order of tasks. Some tasks depend on others. For instance, you can send out invitation until the venue is booked and date is confirmed. Step 3, estimate the time for each task. We use three time estimates. O for optimistic time if everything goes smoothly. M for most likely time, normal situation. P for pessimistic time if things go wrong. For example, booking a venue might take O equals 1 day, M equals 2 days, and P equals 4 days. In step 4, calculate the expected time. So, ang step 4 is explain ni siya ni Ashley, ang kauban na mga reporter. And we use the formula TE equals O plus M 4 plus P divide 6. Step 5, draw the per chart using nodes and arrows. Each task is represented by a node or circle and arrow. Show the sequence. For example, task A arrow, task B arrow, task C, nana. And step 6, identify the critical path. This is the longest path of task from start to finish. It shows the minimum time needed to complete the project. Any delay in this task will delay the whole project. So if madelay ang A ug B ug C, takes the most time, that's your critical path. To make it clear, let me example, short example. Let's say we want to create a class newsletter. We have three tasks. A, gather content. B, design layout. And C, final editing. So, their expected time are A equals 2 days and B equals 3.33 days. C equals 2.17 days. The sequence is A, arrow B, arrow C, ganun nga na. So, the total time is around 7.5 days. That's our critical path. In summary, upper chart help us manage tasks better and avoid delays. It shows what needs to be done, when and how long it will take.
Hi everyone, good day. I am Ashley Langgamin and I am going to give you a sample of a per chart. So to this point, you already know what is per chart, the importance of time estimation projects, the components of a per chart including the nodes, the arrows and time estimates, and also the calculation and the estimates to come up with the expected time. Previous reporter also introduced the steps in creating a per chart. As you can see in the screen, the table consists of the inputs to make the per chart. We have the nodes, the task name, along with optimistic time, the pessimistic time, and most likely time. So the expected time from the calculation, which is optimistic time plus 4 times most likely time plus pessimistic time over 6. So kay na naman tay inputs para mabuhat atong per chart, now we can create our per chart. So this is our per chart in Nueve Frozen Delights Enterprise Development Plan. So as you can see, the numbered circles are the nodes and it represents the events. Then the directional line represents dependent tasks that must be completed, the black lines. The diverging arrows or kanang blue arrows, it indicates possibly concurrent task. So when we say concurrent task, it is the task that can be done simultaneously. Then ang numbered squares are the expected time frame.
I'm here to share with you the advantages and limitations of using the PERT or the Program Evaluation and Review Technique in agribusiness project management. So first are the advantages of using PERT or the
program evaluation and review techniques. So the first one here is it improves project planning and scheduling. PRT also helps us carefully plan each step of a project and organize the schedule. Additionally, this is useful when managing a farm expansion or setting up a new business firm. Second is it identifies critical tasks and potential delays. It shows us which activities must be done on time to avoid delays, and this helps us focus on what is most important. The third one is it enhances resource allocations and budgeting. With PRT, we can assign workers, equipments, and money more wisely, avoiding waste and keeping the project within the budget. The fourth and the last one is it facilitates better communication among project stakeholders. Everyone involved in the project, from farm managers to suppliers, can clearly understand the timeline and what needs to be done in order to finish or to achieve the goal of the project. Meanwhile, here are the limitations of using the PERT. The first one is time estimates can be subjective and may lack accuracy. So the time we guess or that we use for each task might not always be right. It can sometimes be wrong or not that accurate, especially if we lack enough past data or experiences. Second is it can become complex for large projects because of it has a lot of tasks to be done and to be achieved. If there are too many activities, the PERT or the PRT chart can be hard to manage and understand. Lastly is it requires continuous updating as the project progresses. Since things often change during a project, if the BRT chart needs to be updated regularly, by which it takes time and effort to be done. In conclusion, BRT is a very useful and helpful tool for planning and managing agribusiness projects, but we must also be aware of its challenges. But with proper training and careful use, it can help us reach our project goals more efficiently.
Good day everyone. Today I'll be introducing you to a very useful tool in project management called the critical path method or the CPM. So what exactly is CPM? CPM is technique used in project management to help us plan, schedule and analyze complex projects. So it does this by identifying the longest sequence of tasks that need to be completed for the whole project to be finished. So this sequence is called the critical path. So why is this important? So because knowing the critical path helps us figure out two things. So first is the shortest time possible to complete the project, and second, which tasks are so important that if they're delayed, the entire project will also be delayed. So let's go over to the three core concepts you need to understand. So we have here the first, the critical path. So this is the longest chain of dependent task in your project. So it shows the minimum time your project needs to be completed. So if any task on this path is delayed, the entire project will be delayed too. So second, we have here the critical task. So these tasks are the tasks on the critical path. Since they directly affect the project timeline, they must be monitored closely. So there's no room for delay here unless you want the whole project to be late. Third, we have here the float or slack. This is a very helpful concept. Float refers to the extra time a task can be delayed without causing delays to other tasks or the overall projects. Tasks that are not on the critical path usually have float, so this gives you some flexibility in scheduling.
Good day everyone, I am the Taurus Rizal. So today I will going to explain what is the steps and to implement the PERT CPM. In addition of PERT CPM, so it is a scheduling technique which aims to maximize. For example, if you have a problematic about the schedule of the event, so you should use this technique or to optimize the time consuming and the cost. The 4 steps are: first, we should list all the activities or tasks based on the problem. The second is identify the given time duration and predecessor task. The third one is determine the critical path, and last is create this PERT CPM chart. First, we have a problem here. So the task here is number 1, what is the correct total time? Number 2, what is the critical path? And the last, create a PERT or CPM chart. Moving on, step 1 to 2 is we list all the tasks, the duration, and the predecessor task. So task 1, prepare the site in 3 days. Hyphen lang siya because first task manatoning prepare the site. And then task 2 is set the building footers in 3 days after the task 1. Third task is finish the foundation in 5 days after the task 2. Then fourth task is assemble the building in 3 days after task 3. Task 5 is finish the interior work in 5 days after task 4. And then task 6 is set up an appointment for the final building inspections in 15 days after task 4. The task 7 is landscape in 7 days after the task 5. And also, the task 8 is paved driveway in 3 days after task 5. The task 9 is do the painting in 2 days after task 7 and 8. And task 10 is arrange the sale in 2 days after the task 6 and 9. At this moment, let me explain to you regarding on this chart. So first is prepare the site in 3 days. 3 plus 1 equals 4 minus 1 equals 3. So it was finished in 3 days. The second task is set the building footers. It was started in 4 days. Then yung duration is 3 days. So 4 plus 3 equals 7 minus 1. So it was finished in 6 days. Then the third task, it was started in 7 days. Then duration niya is 5 days. 7 plus 5 equals 12 minus 1. It was finished in 11 days. Fourth task is assemble the building. So it was started in 12 days since the last task was finished in 11 days. And then duration is 3 days. So 12 plus 3 equals 15 minus 1. So it was finished in 14 days. Set up an appointment for the final building inspection. So it was started in 15 days. Duration in 15 days. 15 plus 15 equals 30 minus 1 equals 29. Next is finish the interior work. Fifth task na ni siya since after the assemble the building, so nag-start ta in 15 days and then giad na to sa yung duration in 5 days, which is 20 minus 1, nahuman siya in 19 days. Next is the paved driveway. Nag-start ta 20 days. And then, ika-8 ni siya nga task, 3 days duration. So, 20 plus 3 equals 23. Then, after then siyang minus 1 equals 22. Landscape, it was started in 20 days, 7 days. So, 20 plus 7, 27. Then, minus 1, 26 days siya na finish. And next is do the painting. So, ika-9 task na ni siya. It started in 27. And then, yung duration is 2 days. So, since kani siya, before ani nga task, dapat mahumanan ning landscape of paved driveway. Manang naa siya arrow ning paved driveway to do the painting and landscape to do the painting. Para out of the confusion, no? And then, na-finish siya, 28, arrange the sail. Nag-start siya, 30. Ang nga task, dapat humanan ning set up and appointment for the final building inspection. So, start na 30, then, ang yung duration is 2 days. Giad na to siya, gikuag isa, manang 31 siya na human. So, atong total time is 31 days.
Managing float and slack. So, float is also known as slack. It is a critical concept in project scheduling that helps determine how much flexibility there is in starting or finishing a task without affecting the project timeline. The total float is the maximum amount of time a task can be delayed without impacting the overall project completion dates. So, it is useful for identifying which tasks have scheduling flexibility and which are on the critical path. So the free float refers to the amount of time a task can be delayed without delaying the start of the next independent task. So this helps in optimizing task sequencing and coordination among teams. So here is an example of the total float and the free float. So we will going to imagine a simple project with 3 tasks. So the task A is the duration is 2 days, and the task B is the duration is 3 days start after the task A, and the task C is the duration is 2 days and also start after the task A but independent of task B. So the total project duration is 7 days. So the total float example is, let's say the task C is scheduled to start on day 3 after finish on day 4. However, even if it's delayed and finished by the day 7, the overall project will still finish on time. So the task C has a total float of 3 days, but it can be delayed from day 3 to day 6 without affecting the project end's date. So for the free float example, suppose the task C must be completed before the task D can begin. So the task D is scheduled to start on day 5. If the task C finish on day 4 and the task D start on day 5, then the task C has a free float of 1 day and it can be delayed by 1 day without affecting the start of task D. So the summary is, the total float is flexibility in delaying a task without delaying the whole project, and the free float is flexibility in delaying a task without delaying the next dependent task. So the understanding of this float helps project managers make better decisions regarding resource allocation and task prioritization, so ensuring that the project remains on track while efficiently utilizing available time. Techniques for handling project deadlines. So when a project is delayed or at risk of missing deadlines, the project managers can use specific techniques to recover lost time and shorten the schedules. So the 2 commonly used methods are the fast tracking and crushing. Both aim to reduce the overall project duration, but they may involve increased cost or risk. So the first is the fast tracking. So the fast tracking involves performing tasks in parallel that were originally scheduled to be done sequentially. So this means overlapping phases or activities to speed up project completion. So here is an example. For example, in a construction project, suppose the original plan was to complete the foundation before starting the framing of the structure. With the fast tracking, the framing could begin while the foundation work is still being completed in some areas, so it provides safety to do so. But there is also a pros and cons of this. The pros is no additional cost in resources and can significantly reduce time if tasks are compatible. But the cons is it increases risk of rework if overlapping tasks interfere and may cause quality issues, or coordination challenges. Second is the crashing. So the crashing is the process of adding extra resources to critical path tasks to complete them faster. So this could mean hiring more workers, paying for overtime, or using faster equipment. For example, is if a software development team is falling behind schedule, and the manager might add more developers to the team or have the current team overtime to complete the coding task faster. But uh, again, there are also a pros and cons. So the pros is uh, directly reduce time on critical path activities and can be effective if additional resources are available. And the cons is increased project costs and risk of diminishing returns or reduced efficiency.
Benefits of using CPM. So, CPM or critical path method is widely used in project management and it brings several benefits. So, first is enhanced project scheduling and planning. It helps agribusiness managers lay out a clear timeline of tasks from start to finish. Second is identifies critical tasks and potential bottlenecks. CPM highlights which steps cannot be delayed without affecting the whole project. Third is improves resource management and allocation. So it ensures the right people and tools are assigned the right task. And fourth is provides a clear roadmap for project execution. So everyone involved in the project knows what needs to be done and when improving coordination and efficiency. So CPM benefits in agribusiness context. So let's apply these benefits to the agribusiness sector. So first, in scheduling, planting, and harvesting activities more efficiently. So, for example, in scheduling crop planting or harvesting, CPM helps avoid overlaps and ensure timely completion. So, next is in identifying time-sensitive steps in crop production or agribusiness venture. So, critical tasks like fertilization or irrigation, which are time-sensitive, are monitored closely. Next is allocating manpower and machinery effective across farm operations. So, with limited resources like farm labor or tractors, CPM helps us avoid conflicts and double booking. So, next is mapping out the entire process of agribusiness projects like food processing or marketing. So, when planning a food processing project, say for the producing jackfruit candy, CPM allows us to map out the steps from raw materials to finished product, making sure we stay on track. Next slide is CPM versus PERT. So now let's compare CPM or critical path method and PERT or program evaluation and review technique. So CPM uses deterministic time estimates, meaning we already know how long each task should take, ideal for routine farming or agribusiness tasks. So PERT, on the other hand, uses probabilistic estimates, which means it considers base case, worst case, and most likely time durations. This is helpful when you're working on something new or experimental, like trying a new farm technology or starting a jackfruit-based product line for the first time. So, in summary, CPM is used for predictable, repeatable activities, while PERT is the best for uncertain research-based project.
Good day everyone, I'm Julian Gabriel Aspelandas, and today I'm going to discuss to you the application of CPM. CPM or Critical Path Method help organizations plan, schedule, and control complex tasks. This tool is especially useful when managing projects with many steps and deadlines. This method helps reduce uncertainty, save time, and make sure everything runs smoothly. Critical path method is a project planning technique that identifies the longest sequence of dependent tasks. This is called critical path, and the shortest time possible to complete the project. If any task in this path is delayed, the whole project is delayed. CPM works best when projects with well-defined tasks and timeliness. Second is construction engineering projects. Third is software development projects. Fourth is a situation where task duration are predictable. Benefits of CPM are shows which tasks are critical and flexible. Second,
helps in scheduling, managing resources, and avoiding delays. Third or lastly is it makes easier to adjust plans and prepare for risk. So in conclusion for the both PERT and CPM, these methods are both powerful tools for managing projects. So CPM is ideal for projects with clear tasks and deadlines, helping avoid delays and improve planning, while PERT is better for projects with uncertainty, allowing more flexible scheduling and better risk management. Choosing between the two depends on the nature of the project. Thank you.